Well, I think it's with great excitement that we approach this postseason. The team's worked really hard to get to this point. I think this team has a great appreciation for being in the tournament. 5 or 6 weeks ago, we were wondering if we could get in the tournament with the way that we were playing. So I think this team is very excited to play, and I think they are looking forward to the opportunity, and I think they appreciate the opportunity.
Yes. Chris.
Thomas, same question that I asked Earl, just the advantages and what it takes you guys to be here on Hill 4.
Well, what we've tried to really talk to the players about is how important this 40 minutes is, and you have to throw the seeds out right now, and you just have to get prepared for a really formidable opponent. And I certainly would rather be playing here than playing in Wright State's gym, so it's an advantage. But we're trying to really focus on our play and what we need to do to be successful Saturday morning. And the benefit of practicing in the gym all week and getting to shoot more shots than Wright State hopefully will be an advantage. But we haven't focused a lot on that because I don't want the players to think somehow that the building's going to win the game for them, because that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is our players will do the things necessary to beat Wright State. So we have the players in a hotel, and we're trying to make it very much like any other NCAA tournament game. I just don't think you can afford at this point in time to try to artificially boost your team up. I think you really need to stay squarely focused on the 40 minutes that's in front of you, because it's the only game that you have guaranteed right now.
Bria and Jim were talking about how different the postseason play is. How do you maybe prepare Lene and Michaela, who have played more substantial minutes in the last part of the season, for that changeover postseason?
I don't do much differently with them. I try to approach every practice with a very consistent energy to what we need to do, and the way that I approach practice with them. So, I mean, they're both smart kids. I think they understand that it's an important game, but the key for this team has been us trying to enjoy being together, enjoy practice, making practice enjoyable. I think Michaela and Lene have probably benefited from that as much as anyone. So our practices have been very similar to what has ended up being successful for this particular team. So they both have played very well in the postseason already. In the SEC tournament, there was a tremendous amount on the line for us there, and I thought they performed well. So, for them, they just need to play basketball, because they're both really talented players, and so I haven't talk to them about anything differently or approach them any differently than I would the rest of the team.
Jennifer.
Matthew, there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks since the start of the SEC tournament that you sort of lightened up, you sort of lightened the load, you tried to make it fun. I saw pictures of you guys with go-karting last night. What? Is that just a change in mindset for you, or is it this team that needed that specifically?
Well, I think that what a great lesson that I've learned this year. People talk about this is the 5th year in a row that you're going to the tournament, and you get caught up in the program at times if you're not careful and you're not paying attention to this particular team. And I've always been one that's been big on saying that every year is different. And when we were not playing well, I just went to the team and asked them for their feedback, and God bless them, they gave it, and they're like, hey, you're not real engaged with the team, and just things that I didn't believe were happening. But you can either listen to them, or you can say, you guys are wrong, I'm right. And they said they needed a deeper level of engagement. I showed up every day knowing that I loved all of them in my heart and working hard and doing the things that I thought were important to try to get us better. And, you know, they said they needed something different. They needed a different level of engagement off the court. And it was surprising to me because a lot of veteran players that I felt like I knew and they knew me. And so, listen, you have to, in my mind, you have to make it about the players. So they said that they, didn't think I wanted to be around them much and that kind of thing. So we just started trying to engage them off the court. Make sure that we had some conversations, take the time to talk about some things besides basketball, things like that, and it has seemed to help the players out. But we were definitely a group, I think, that was headed in different directions. We were weighed down by the expectations, and everybody was reacting to it differently. And my nature is probably to go harder and try to work harder and try to be more intense. And thank goodness we were able to sit down and talk, and everybody listened to each other. And so that's how all that has resulted in what we have now. And it's just and a great lesson to learn. You have to listen to your players, in my mind, or I have to be a successful coach.
Them to say, you're not engaging us enough.
Yeah.
They're kind of like your kids to you.
Yeah, because it's not what you want to hear, and it's not what you want to believe about yourself. You don't want to believe that about yourself, and you want to. Your initial reaction is, well, you're wrong. I do love you, and look what all I've done for you, and you start playing that game in your mind, and you have to stop that very quickly and listen to what they're saying, and it was pain, but that's you don't. I don't know that you learn a whole lot without some pain along the way. I think that's where you learn your greatest lessons a lot of times. So that's why I'm real excited to go into this tournament with this team, because I'd love for them to have some success, because they've worked real hard, and they could have just shut their mouths and not said anything, and we have become a train wreck. And they opened up and put themselves out there and really worked hard to become a team. And so I'm really going to do everything I can and hoping for great success in this tournament, because they've worked hard to get to this point.
Yes, Oscar.
What you said sounds very much like parenting, but aside from that, Wright State, what do they bring to the table? What difficulties are they presenting?
Yeah, Wright State's really explosive, fourth in the country in scoring, and have, beaten a 5 seed in this tournament, North Carolina State. They beat them, by 9 points earlier in the season. They're very, very explosive on offense, legitimate guard play. I look at their guards on tape, and, they are just outstanding. And one of the, scrappiest, most together performances I've ever seen in their championship game on Green Bay's home court. And they played with a lot of fire and a lot of intensity. And they will make it difficult. We do have a size advantage, but if you don't really get tough in there and get a low power base and keep the ball up high, they will strip you and really make it difficult for you to score in the lane. They're number 1 in the country in turnover margin, so they do a great job of taking care of it, and they do a great job of turning you over. So it's a big challenge. I can assure you they didn't drive down here wanting to get beat. They want to win. Mike Bradbury is a tremendous competitor and has done a tremendous job as their coach. So I am geared up, and our players need to be geared up for a real strong test Saturday morning.
Sure.
It sounds like the speed and athleticism could be a great challenge as well.
Well, they certainly try to play very up-tempo, and so it could be a really exciting, fast-paced game.
Yes, sir. And then we'll-
With the SEC and the improvement in the net tournament, what kind of adjustments, when you look back in that tournament, what kind of adjustments are you making for this, where you feel like we can take this to another level?
Well, I just thought that we were the aggressors, and so many times in that tournament I thought we were the more aggressive team, and I think that's what we're right where we need to be. Tomorrow morning we need to be the more aggressive team on the court, and we need to stay in attack mode. And I think that was the greatest lesson we learned out of the SEC tournament. When that's our mindset, that we are going to attack our opponent, and we're not going to sit back and kind of let the game play out and see how we need to play. We're just from the jump very, very aggressive. I think that's the greatest lesson we learned from the SEC tournament. And I thought that probably in the last 4 minutes against Tennessee, we probably got too concerned about the outcome, and that was really the first time in that tournament that we were concerned about the outcome. We need to just be engaged in attacking our opponent for 40 minutes and seeing where that gets us.
We have about 4.5 minutes left. Jen?
Does the Wright State team remind you all at all of the teams, the kind of early, success that you had in Kentucky?
Yeah, they do. They don't full court press as much as we did, but very similar. 4 guards, just getting after it, playing with tremendous passion and purpose. An unbelievable bench. I saw Mike this morning. I just told him it was. I wish they hadn't sent them down here because they're such a tough team, but it sure was fun to watch them play in that Green Bay game. It's just one of the most together performances, and it's exactly what we've been telling our team. Their bench is just alive, and it seems like they really enjoy playing together. And so that's what you need when you're sort of undersized. You got to have a grit about you and a determination about you that you're going to sell out and give it everything that you have, because if you don't, you're going to get beat. And that's where we were early on. We were very undersized, so we just had to, if we fooled around, we were going to get beat. So they're very similar to that.
Yes, sir.
You've known all year about being able to host this regional. How have you kind of gotten your mind around that after going on the road all these years? Just actually.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm real proud of what we've done. 3 of the last 4 years able to advance to the Sweet 16 on the road. Was not in your home gym, and a lot of teams have benefited from that dynamic of being at home and have advanced to the Sweet 16. We haven't had that dynamic working for us. So I've been looking back, you're real proud of those teams, and now you just try to stay as focused as you can on what Kentucky needs to do to be successful tomorrow morning. And I think I'll be able to better answer that question if we're able to have some success here.
We have time for one more question if we have one. Yes, sir.
Back to being at home, being on the road, being here, great benefit for the fans. Just tell us how much this means to the fans.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really great benefits. If you think about it overall, probably the number one thing is, and I've told the team this, you need to play well so you gain the advantage of being at home. You need to play with a lot of fire and a lot of intensity and a lot of passion, because then that gives the fans energy, and then they give it back to you. So, our fans do a great job. Sometimes we're stinking it up in here, and they still try to get behind us and try to help us out. But when you're out there making plays, they really appreciate that. So that's where any advantage lies, is that if you can play well and reward the fans, they will give it back to you. And I've been struck by how many people have come by and said how appreciative they are that they can watch us here one more time tomorrow morning. And if we can find a way to win, they'll get another one Monday night. It's a great thing for our fans, but really for us to gain the full benefit of being here, we need to play well and we need to get them excited, because then that's where the full benefit can kick in for us.